is episode season 2, episode 2. Officially, episode 1 is the last episode. I still have it somewhere. I still have me. I have my iPhone stuff. Anyway, are you ready?
You just get a picture of like a guy sitting in a chair, but it's like a paper bag and it's got a weird face on it, and just have that. And
that's what I'm saying. Do I have the audio? Did you get rid of it?
I put it.
You did. You already did. Yeah. So I got the audio. We're fine.
Yeah,
we're fine. Paper bag. I was gonna say like Krusty the Clown.
Yeah, something.
Right. His drunk engineer picture.
Hey.
All right, here we go. Welcome to the Elk Season Podcast, Season 2, Episode 2, January 12th?
January 12th.
2023. There are 230 days until elk season.
230.
Woo! I remembered all of that. We are the Chambers Brothers. My name is Harold.
I'm David.
And today on the Elk Season Podcast, right now,
it is night for us.
On the Elk Season Podcast.
We have, a bunch of odd things in the news. Everything from, we talked last season about a herd of elk that fell on a rock slide. So I've got another herd of what would you say, ungulates?
Animals,
that had fallen down a rock slide.
Large ungulates, if you will.
Some interesting stories about wolves, maybe a little conversation about moose. We're looking for people who are poaching animals. I've got an interesting story regarding broadheads that use a sort of a poison pod for killing. There's still a problem with bow hunting, but I'll talk a little bit about some of those
interesting
things. I came across the article from last week. I couldn't remember. European hunters are switching to a certain. They're using something in Europe. And the article indicated that it's coming to America next. So I went and I chased that down. I found the article. I read it. I'll tell you about what they're talking about. It's actually, to me, kind of I'm not quite sure why the author actually made the title the way it is. It's coming to America next. But we'll have I think it'll be a fun debate about what that could be. Oregon has some beautiful elk.
Yeah.
And they had a record. They had a record. We'll talk about the record.
There are more elk in Oregon than either Idaho or Montana.
Oh my gosh.
I'm
moving.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. No, I'm going to stay here.
Well, so you have Oregon's in two different zones.
Yeah.
Well, kind of three, because you have the coastal mountains where you have the Roosevelt elk. You have the Cascade Mountains, where on the backside you probably have some Rocky Mountain elk, and then you have the rest of Eastern Oregon, which is Rocky Mountain elk.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. They named the county in that article of where this bull was harvested, but I don't remember the county.
That's okay.
But if I had to guess, I'll probably be wrong.
I saw the country. It looked like Eastern Oregon.
I was going to say East. Yeah. It seemed Eastern to me. Yeah. So, so where are we starting today?
So I'm going to start with. I'll get this out of the way. Okay, I weighed in on Monday.
Okay.
I'm down 9 pounds.
Congrats.
I'm down to 271. That's right. I was 280 pounds. My diet is scorched earth. I know. Have I talked to you about it?
Tell me again if you haven't. If you have
scorched earth. It's scorched earth. It's
just a handful of dirt that you've held the flame under. Got it.
Well, the scorched earth is everything that I have been eating burned to the ground. Just wipe it out and start over anew. And I have the same 3 meals every single day.
That's boring.
And yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's absolutely boring.
Okay.
And but it's producing effects.
Sure.
Which I want. I don't know. So anyways, let me get through
I want to lose weight, but I don't want to be bored doing it, but continue.
Yeah. Right. So the boredom thing is a trap to me when you're dieting. You're like, well, what if we just, there's this dish and we can make this and it has chicken, but you just use 2 cups of heavy cream. Right. And you're like, okay, yeah, of course it's going to taste better.
Yeah.
And of course you're still eating chicken, but the calories from that chicken are so much different. And so every time and my wife likes to do this. Oh, I found this nice paleo recipe, or I found this and I want to do this.
Sure.
And I'm like, I will try it.
Okay.
And if I like it, sure, we'll add it to the repertoire. But For right now, during
you scale it back and you're being intentional. That's the
very,
point.
very scaled back. So my meal for breakfast is a bowl of berries.
Okay.
Either grapes, usually mostly grapes, but I have blueberries or strawberries, grapes or bananas, and 4 hard-boiled eggs.
Okay.
For lunch, I have sweet potato chili, which is one of these paleo things that my wife's like, hey, I want to try this. It turned out we like it. And we cook a big pot of it every single week. And we just, when it cools off, we put it in the fridge. That's what's for lunch every single day. It is 2 pounds of elk burger and 2 pounds of turkey burger. So it's really lean meat.
Yeah.
Then we have tomatoes and some sweet potatoes and some other spices and stuff. So that's my lunch.
Okay.
I will have a banana and maybe a little bit of applesauce in the afternoon when I get a little tired.
Are you allowed cinnamon in that?
And yeah, I can have as much cinnamon as I want. And then for dinner, I have a chicken breast and squash.
Okay.
So it's squash, it's lightly coated in olive oil and cooked and seasoned. I use that everything bagel.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's magic right there.
Remember when Mom used to make eggplant? She would make the fried eggplant.
Yeah.
So the squash kind of tastes like the fried eggplant. It's really good with the everything bagel on there.
Right.
And I love Mom's fried eggplant.
Yeah,
I always love that.
We've tried it here a couple times, but I've had a hard time getting over the thickness of the skin on eggplant. Like we wouldn't cook it right, and it would be all hard to chew through. But the flesh is really nice. But
Glenna can do it.
Yeah, she can do everything Mom could.
I know. Yeah.
We had 2 different attempts to try to get to help. Vessel wanted to learn how to make dinner rolls. And I've told you this.
Yeah.
We can't get them to turn out to save our lives here.
Oh, dude, are you kidding me? I used to make
I
Mom's bread recipes
I knew this was coming.
Day.
As soon as I started this,
I can make bread rolls. What kind do you want?
That.
I can do it. You tell me when. I'll come over.
We're trying to figure out how to do it for ourselves. That's the heartbreaking part of it.
Okay, I'll just come over. Anyway. So I used it used to be a thing I would do before church.
Yeah,
back when me and the family go to church, you make the bread because it's so easy. Making bread's so easy. People think, oh, making bread, that's hard. No, it's so dumb. It's so easy. Yeah. You're like, why haven't I been making more bread? You just make a batch. You make a batch of dough. You put it up. You put a towel over it. You set it aside. You come back a few hours later. Now it's ready.
Yeah.
Then you make your dinner rolls. Or what I would do is we come home from church really hungry. So I would make scones.
Yeah, scones.
Oh, dude, and then
sorry, I'm going back. Okay, so
I was talking about my diet.
Yes, there was that scones. Hold on, scones. Anyway,
yeah.
So back to the diet though. We can.
No, it's okay because I would take the scones, and you know how you get them really thin. You get them even thinner, and you take a piece of you take a Kraft single, and you fold it in there, and then you fry it.
Okay.
And then you bite into it, and that was happy times.
Okay.
So we did all kinds of stuff. Anyways, so that's I made Mom's dinner rolls, and I loved them. I love bread. So scorched earth is no grains, no sugars, no alcohols,
no fun,
no dairy.
Just kidding.
Right,
I'm harassing you.
Right, and so why have a diversified diet?
Sure.
Right. I have lean protein, and I have all my carbohydrates come from fresh fruits and vegetables, not raw, just fresh. So I'll have just nothing from a can, nothing really processed. So really scorched earth. That's what it is. Just scorched earth. Just if I had to give up everything in the world and only work off basic plants and animals, I guess this is what I'd be doing. Really, really basic. So, but the question is, can I lose a pound a day? And here's if you do the math, the math makes it impossible, right? There's 3,500 calories in a pound of fat. Mm-hmm. Okay. And my body needs 2,500 calories a day.
Yeah.
Probably closer to 3 to just function. And I'm eating, 1,500 calories a day.
Okay.
So then there's just no way I would use an extra 3,500 calories. Right? From a pound of fat. But can my body, and this does relate to elk season because you think about bears, you think, well, you can't get fat eating just berries. You want to bet bears eat berries for 16, 18 hours a day in the fall, and they pack on the lard.
That explains why I can never find berries when I come across berry patches.
They pack on the lard. They do it. They eat constantly.
Sure.
And it's the carbohydrates that make the hydrocarbons for fat storage. So, but here's the question: does 1 pound of fat, right? If I eat 3,500 calories, do I really get 3,500 calories of energy from that food? Or does some of it go in waste? I mean, yes, scientifically, there's 3,500 calories, right? Yeah. Scientifically, I could eat 20,000 calories and only gain a pound.
Sure.
So where does the rest of it go? Anyways, so when my body does metabolize fat, let's say I do lose a pound of fat, do I need to burn 3,500 calories to burn that pound of fat? Or maybe if I access that fat and it just needs to use fat as energy, it goes through a pound, but only uses 2,000 calories.
Huh, that's an interesting...
Just a thought experiment.
No, it's like a philosophical perspective there.
Yeah.
Because my thinking is the fat is stuff that's already stored.
Yeah.
So you're not, if you're eating, you want to eat in a way that causes your body to access with the storage.
Right.
So fewer calories makes sense. And that's why people tend to drop weight quickly if they're just reducing how much they eat. It's not what they eat, it's how much they eat.
Right.
And that's been my approach so far. The weight loss has started a little bit slow, but 4 pounds a week is my goal. I didn't know if I should have included the first week well, I just came up with that concept last week.
Yeah.
And so in a way, it was like Tuesday or Wednesday of last week, I decided maybe I need to do that. So I guess I needed to start counting that moving forward. And so by that metric, I found success because I'm down exactly 4 pounds from where I started.
Awesome.
In 1 week, roughly.
Right. Okay.
So that's my goal, 4 pounds a week for the next 8 weeks.
Okay.
And so early March, hopefully I'm there. But
a pound a day is aggressive.
That's pretty. Yeah, but to me,
it's like unreasonable.
My strategy is now to only count the weight when it goes down, to stop paying attention to whenever my weight fluctuates to the upside.
Right.
Because weight will fluctuate. But if I keep my focus on the weight going down, it'll hopefully unconsciously and consciously keep me focused on, hey, I don't need I was eating some snack chips when you came over here.
Yeah.
Very high in fat and all that stuff. But I was not like, I was trying not to go to town, sharing them with the boys.
Yeah.
And so just kind of getting my sense of it, but without going to town.
Hey, you're preaching to the choir, man. When the floodgates are open, man, big boy like me can empty the fridge. I mean, we can eat the fridge. You can.
And we're doing some stuff here that's a little bit different. I've never been one to subscribe to things like paleo diets or grapefruit diets. I'm not opposed to trying things, but
sing it.
But we do like to experiment with some of the aspects of those things because so we're looking into vegetarian and vegan style dishes to make that a sort of a mainstay in this month.
Yeah.
And so to reduce the overall consumption of red meat, which is probably counterintuitive to you, but
no, I'm all for red meat. Well, the elk meat. So I'm off of beef. I haven't had beef. I haven't.
And so we're just really trying to reduce it because we started off the year. The first day of January for us is a big feast. It's we start the year off right. We have a prime rib, baby,
and plenty to drink too.
It's our last day to do all that until we go dry January and just try to focus on it. We don't make goals either. We're going to try some stuff. We're going to stay dedicated, and it's more about trying to keep a realistic approach for what our needs are. Like anybody's really doing, hopefully. But only measure the weight when it goes down. Portion control has always been the number one thing for me. I just control my portions and move more. The move more is my biggest concern because I have a job that kind of keeps me sedentary. I mean, today on campus, I have a big gap between classes. I have a 9:30 class till 10:50, and then I have a 3:30 class till 4:50. And I have that gap in between.
That's a good gap.
So I went around the campus a little bit, walking around, just getting mobile. And stuff.
It was a nice day.
Today was
a nice day.
It was easy to do, I'll be honest. And speaking of meat, so let me tell you a little bit about my lunch today.
Okay.
So it was a couple of cold pieces of pizza. Now I know we're talking about diet, but they're 2 small pieces. So I just needed to warm them up in the microwave, and they're really small. I mean, we're not talking like the full pieces of pizza you get. It's like one of those throw in the oven kind of pizzas, and they're just small pieces.
Sure.
And so
is it like a Totino's?
Yeah, something like that. Well,
nice.
It's that size.
Okay.
Not that I need to give you this much
for
detail.
us. It's a single serving. But you only had half?
I had 2 pieces.
Okay.
2 slices. But it wasn't Totino's, though. Not that you need this amount of detail.
If I cut it in half, I only had 2 pieces.
So Draven went up to the Wood River Valley with his school. He films games and stuff for the school. And so while he was there, they threw him a Domino's pizza.
Yeah.
Because he was with the team and all that.
Yeah.
And so he brought home that pizza, and I ended up with 2 of those slices. But it was a smaller pizza. Like, it was a Totino size pizza. It wasn't personal pan, but it was a little bit bigger.
Really?
But it was kind of weird. Yeah. So So that's what was in my list. 2 of those pieces.
Yeah,
of
they
pizza.
might serve something different for games when they have a deal with games. Yeah.
And yeah, they would do that here in Twin. I remember doing that. So anyway, I warm them up, and I look in my lunch, and Vesa has thrown in. I've got this little container. It's long, and I've got a hot dog in there. I'm like, oh, cool, hot dog. Well, I would just zap that real quick. And so I pop the lid, and I just kind of twist it so it can vent, and I throw it in there and give it like 10 seconds, and I go back to my office with my food, and I open up the hot dog, and it's a stick of elk. It's elk. It's your elk. And
it's elk pepperoni.
It's elk pepperoni stick, and I've just warmed it up.
Yeah, baby.
And I just want you to know, it is not very good warm.
No.
I ate it because I deserved it. I did it myself.
Did.
Inspect your food before you warm it up. And so this is a PSA for anyone who has beef sticks, elk sticks, whatever. Don't microwave them.
Yeah. What happened to it? Was it ugly? Was it just bad?
It's not that it's bad. Psychologically, it messes with you because it's warm.
Oh.
And I'm like, I'm like, it's already lean, and it was drier,
super
and it was just like,
lean,
I'm like, oh my gosh, it's good, but I can't get over it was this weird psychological game that I had to play to get through it. And I just eat it. So I got through it. It wasn't going to go to waste.
That's good stuff. That's good pepperoni, man.
I
got to get a lot more next year.
I got to pay attention. I got to pay attention. Anyway, so that was how elk affected me today. I had to eat a warm elk pepperoni steak.
I've been eating a lot of elk. I mean, I have. We've had a lot of steak, and we've had a lot of burger. And I have it in this chili. I got to make a new batch tomorrow. I got 1 bowl of chili left in the fridge. And I want to talk. We are only 230 days away from elk season.
30 days. It's actually technically, when I looked it up, I said, how many days till August 30th? So it would technically be 229.
Okay.
Because how many days till August? Well, maybe, I don't know.
Whatever.
Look, suddenly I realized my math ain't so good. So figure it out.
230, give or take. But when I got my bowl this year, one of the guys who did most of the knife work, Reggie, had spent the previous year, he had lost 30 pounds. And he was a lot younger, and he was, I don't want to say rail thin, but he was lean.
Yeah.
Jared was in pretty good shape. They were both in better shape than me. And they were both, 10, 15 years younger. But he commented that, hey, I have lost 30 pounds over this past year. And one time when we hiked the meet from camp all the way up to the top of the ridge where I said goodbye to these guys, I led the way. I go, just let me show I don't know why, but I go, here. I walked up and down this gully. I don't know how many times in the past month. So I go, just follow me. You just go straight up, and I'll show you right to the. So we get almost to the top, and Jared's behind me. He's sweating. He's breathing hard. I'm taking a lot of breaks.
Yeah.
I know I've got a long days ahead of me.
Yep.
So I'm taking lots of breaks, just trying to move slow. And finally Reggie goes, okay, I see the top. I'll meet you there. And he just starts walking. He just starts hiking. I'm like, and I turn to Jared and I go, is he carrying anything? He's carrying some of my elk.
Yeah.
I mean, both of those boys were, all 3 of us were. They had a quarter each, and I had 2 quarters. And he was hiking so fast, but he had lost 30 pounds. Now this episode of an elk hunt that I saw on YouTube this week is a high altitude elk hunt over 12,000 feet. I think we'll segue into it because he mentions in the video he lost 30 pounds in preparation for a high altitude elk hunt.
Wow.
So
it's a lot less weight to carry.
Oh man, what I would give to give up an extra 30 pounds. So right. If you ask that question, what am I willing to give to get rid of that 30 pounds?
Yeah.
Am I willing to go scorched earth?
You are.
I know, but I haven't been.
Right.
So over a year ago, I did scorched earth for probably 3.5 weeks, and it was really, really successful. But the wife was like, "Hey, we got to do this diet so we can go to Mexico, so we can look good in Mexico." And we get to Mexico, right? It's all about the Instagram or whatever she does, and it's all about margaritas. So I was totally off the wagon after Mexico, and we got another trip coming up to Mexico in March.
Okay.
So, anyways, busy year. Yes, weight loss is important. This guy, I want to talk about this YouTube. If you have, do you have the story up on your little iPad? Is it iPad? Yeah. iPad Mini. What's it titled?
Bull elk above timberline, an epic hunt, over 12,000.
Over 12,000 feet.
Wow.
I'm guessing they're in Colorado.
I would guess.
Colorado is the highest state outside of Alaska.
Yeah.
So anyways, it was a great episode. Is it Born and Raised Outdoors? Are those guys?
It is Knock On Archery.
Knock On Archery. So there's Born and Raised Outdoors. There's Knock On Archery. I have another one, another really cool group of videographers and hunters that I'm following. But this is definitely worth watching. This guy put in a lot of work, and it's a really good episode.
Cool.
Yeah, and it's a nice big bull.
Yeah, sorry, this is loosely related. So, well, you said nice big bull. Let's go to Oregon.
Yeah,
let's talk about that guy, because when I read this article, this Oregon bow hunter tags a state record bull, and I think the last time they said the record had been made was like 20 years ago.
Wow.
So it's been a while.
Wow.
But they had the final score of 392 and 0 for 8, whatever that means. Let me double check. I took a couple screenshots so I could have references here just in case.
So the bull I showed last week was go ahead.
So this bull grossed over 400 inches and had a final score of 392, which beats out the previous archery record of 376.
Wow.
And 6'8". I don't know what the 6'8" means, or
6'8". 6/8 of an inch.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that was set in 2006.
Okay.
So it was
almost 20 years, 15 years. Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. That was a big bull. So how the scoring system works is, yes, they add up all the inches, but they also take inches away. Like if the main beam is shorter than the distance between the two main beams, right? If the main beam's this long, but the distance between this beam and this beam is this long, then you lose. You lose points. Okay. You lose inches. And so a lot of people, and the same thing too with symmetry, right? You say this tine on this side is 7 inches, this side on this tine is 6 inches. So we're going to add that to an even 12 because you lose something in symmetry. So people like to pull the tape measure out and go measure. Oh, I'm 400 inches. Yeah, look at this. And you realize, well, when you get down to somebody who knows what they're doing, they're going to score that. They're going to score that a little bit lighter, probably.
I really liked the article. They talked a little bit about one of the headlines for part of it said "a ghost in the woods," and of course that for me conjures up some very recent memory. Yeah. So and he seemed about the same. He was a 6x6. This bull that they got in Oregon.
Yeah,
and he was that big.
Yeah,
and the guy we saw on that last day we were up there, huge.
Yeah,
you showed me that video last week, and I thought you were showing me somebody else's video.
Isn't that amazing?
It took me a moment to really kind of get back to...
That was us.
Yeah, man.
That guy was 60 yards away
60 yards.
Yeah. But you look at that video, and you're so far removed in time from when that happened. You think it's somebody else's amazing video.
So this is what that experience taught me, is that I knew it was an impressive animal. We kind of did our thing, but I had underscored him in my mind. In my mind he was smaller than that.
Yeah.
And
it was dark. He was a ghost.
Yeah, yeah.
He was a ghost, and you really couldn't see his antlers that early in the morning.
No,
I mean,
then
it was
at a
so
distance,
dark. Yeah.
So
moving through the trees, you could see that big ghost body.
but he just
But that was him. That was definitely him.
Yeah.
When we scoped him up, he was singing all day long.
Yeah. Anyway, so some interesting stuff. Hey, let me segue to this.
Yeah.
I don't have the video and I don't have an image, and I told you about this. It's a follow-up.
Okay.
We talked on our episode 1, and I'm just going to throw it out there. People will have to put this together, whoever you are, if you listen.
Yeah.
The lost episode. We talked about mountain lions and mule deer. Do you remember some of the conversation around that?
Yeah, but it was about, the main prey of mule deer is a mountain lion.
Yeah.
And mule deer have to be very, very aware of movement, because mule deer mountain lions sit really low in the sage and in the grass, and any little bit of movement, they can pounce and attack. And so you have to be really ready for that kind of thing. Am I right?
Yeah. I think so.
Is that what we talked about last week?
Yeah, something along those lines. Well, this guy in this video, and maybe I apologize, no video, no picture, but he's phone scoping some deer on the side of the hill, and he sees a feline moving from below.
Okay.
And the cat gets closer and closer. And this cat is able to get up on these deer, and it attacks one. Wow. And they roll down the hill together.
Wow.
It was a bobcat.
No.
A bobcat
way.
viciously tore in after this mule deer. It was incredible to watch.
Wow. Was it successful?
Yes.
What a win.
Yeah.
What a win. That's a jackpot. That is.
It was a big bobcat. I was
surprised. Hitting $25,000, man. That is a jackpot of calories.
That's
amazing.
He's watching that cat go all the way up this gully, and he keeps panning back to the deer, and then he's just all of a sudden out of nowhere, the cat just was ready, and they roll down the hill together.
It is an intense ferocity.
Yeah.
That close to an animal, it is frightening. The ferocity that
he was across
is terrifying.
He was across the way from him, but it was just something else. Just whew. Let's keep it in the predator realm. Let's talk about wolves completely surrounding a group of hunters. This is funny.
This is so good. This is just classic. This is clickbait.
Okay.
And it's not clickbait from a hunter. It's clickbait from network news. Right? They're surrounded. Okay, go ahead and click on the video. I did. Because I'm curious as to right, because that's what I say. If there's video or it didn't happen.
Sure.
So now that we have video, you see these guys out archery elk hunting, and they are making cow elk sounds.
Yes.
Not cow elk sounds that I've heard before, like wounded cow elk.
I
mean, like, you take a cow talk, and you kind of make it a wavering bugle almost.
Yeah.
They're making that sound.
That's about the only noise I can make on these harmonicas I bought.
And these wolves are like super curious, and you can see the curiosity on their face.
Sure.
Yes, they are working in coordination with each other through.
But they're surrounding man.
They're
going to attack.
That's
man.
the coordinated effort. They think it's so dumb that wolves are dangerous. So media is playing its part and vilifying the wolf.
Yeah.
Like it always has.
Yeah.
Like it always has. And there's nothing to be afraid of when it comes to wolves.
Yeah, I was talking about sensational headlines just today. Not on this matter, so I'll keep that aside, but just you have to think about it more than the headline.
Yeah.
Was the message to students today.
I had a moment of consider the source when I was having a conversation with a group of coworkers. And one of the coworkers says, "You know what? This is true. I heard this from a guy in a bar."
Yeah.
And I go, "Hold on. Let's consider the source." And from then on, I'm like, anytime I hear anything, I'm like, wait a minute. Where'd that come from?
Is
it from a guy in a bar? Because I hear that's a good source.
Miles.
Miles,
the guy from the Midwest.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
came from him.
Take it to the bank.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Trying to decide where to go. There's some cool stuff. I don't know if we've exhausted some of these stories.
I did watch some more wolf hunting, and you make the right calls, and this guy had just 4 wolves just come right into him, and he was able to shoot them all before. But what was great about the video, he talked about what he was doing. He's not, oh, I'm killing these dang wolves. He is, listen, there are more wolves than there needs to be. They're above the managed plan. I am out here trying to help. This is how we do this. He prefaces.
Great.
Yeah, I know. It was really nice to see. So he prefaces wolf hunting with, this is what we do. Just like, it's, sorry, my brain is a little off today. It is, it's conservation. Mm-hmm. It's conservation. It's what they do. So, anyways, so that was it was a nice preface to a wolf hunt.
I think I saw this same headline, but I didn't post it. But it had to do with a reward available to help find a person responsible for shooting an elk calf with an arrow in Qualla boundary near Cherokee, North Carolina.
I bring this story up simply because, and it's elk in North Carolina.
Yeah,
but
I think as this podcast has continued, sorry for this aside here, I've been impressed, and also I've recognized I've been wholly uninformed with where elk are in the United States.
Right.
So continue.
And mountain goats.
Yeah.
And moose.
Yeah.
And pikas.
We'll go moose next.
And I know it's a crazy understanding.
Sorry, and you just reminded me of another story I didn't post, but I'm gonna jot it down so I can.
You're gonna post it on your Post-it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just a headline that I thought was kind of funny.
Where were we?
We were talking about this elk in North Carolina.
Yeah. So the reason I put the story in is because poachers are caught by people who tattle, by people who report. I don't want to say tattle. By people who report them. If you see something or know something, there was a big convention somewhere where they had Idaho Fish and Game down at CSI in the expo.
Yeah.
And they had all these big mounts, all this beautiful stuff. You're like, hey, where do you get this from? He's like, it's all poached. It's all been poached.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh my, and there's huge, beautiful elk wrecks.
Yeah.
And I said, wow, how do you catch these guys? Yeah, they're neighbors. They're friends. They get told on. People call. So anyways, somebody knows something about an arrow stuck in an elk in North Carolina. Maybe I'm not the guy to meet the right ears to say, please, if you know something, call somebody about this.
Yeah.
But any type of poaching is wrong.
And
we have to manage our wild game carefully and know what's going on. So there's seasons and rules for a reason.
Yeah. And speaking of how there are animals everywhere that you least expect it, this was a bit of a misleading map, but moose everywhere in the U.S. and the map, I immediately had a red flag because I'm like, it just seems a little oversimplified. But again, it's just to depict the general idea. Because even if this was more accurate of a representation, there's still areas of variance, right? You're going to have an animal kind of wander in and out of a zone. So. Right. But yeah, moose are everywhere. And is there something specific you wanted to talk about with that? Or
that map shows there are no moose in Colorado.
Yeah, it does.
I came in with that one talking point. There are no moose in Colorado. So are there in Utah? Yeah. I'm sure there are, but what about New Mexico and Arizona?
It doesn't show that they're there.
I know. So
but
I'm so used to seeing moose.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. I go, well, wherever there's Rocky Mountains, there's probably moose. And you see, well, there's plenty of Rocky Mountains in New Mexico. My grandpa taught me how to make a willow whistle in New Mexico.
Yeah, that's cool.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I think you've told me that story,
and there's some crazy mountains, some crazy beautiful mountains in New Mexico, and you think, oh yeah, I can imagine a moose is here. I don't think there are. I think the moose that were in Colorado were wiped out.
Possibly.
And because they had to be reintroduced.
Yes, the elk did too. In New Mexico and Arizona.
No, I meant Colorado. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Moose might have been wiped out.
My
in
brain
Colorado.
stayed in the southern states.
That's all right. It's those four corners, and the difference. It's funny because the difference between where we grew up in Helena, and where we grew up here, well, it's not that far, right? But what you can grow in a garden, is wildly different. What you can grow in a farm, wildly different. Most acres of grown stuff in Montana is grown for the cattle for the winter.
Yeah.
And you're lucky to get, I don't know, what do you get around here? 4 or 5 cuts? You're lucky in Montana to get 2 or 3.
Yeah.
It's just a different growing season. Anyway, so it's funny how the topography changes and how the climate and the flora and fauna change. Not mega, but flora and fauna change as you go a little bit further south.
Yeah.
So
speaking of animals everywhere, it was just a headline. I should have taken a screenshot or something of it, but it had to do with I can't remember where. I think it was back east. There were some buffalo that got out of a pen, and so the police showed up and they were able to corral the buffalo. So that on its own makes me go, something about this isn't correct.
Yeah.
And so when I looked further, the police department that posted this made an update, said, correction, not buffalo, yaks that got away from their farm. So that made more sense.
Yeah,
so,
domesticated yaks.
Yeah.
They're
much smaller.
Someone mistook as a buffalo.
Yeah.
Have you seen the footage of the one big bull bison throwing another big bull bison?
I think so.
Off the road?
No, I don't think I have seen that.
I mean, he could have thrown that buffalo over a car, not a big car, but he could have thrown him over a car. Those things are ridiculous strong. And there's a footage of other big animals lifting entire cars.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I came across a video that it's not, again, I couldn't screenshot it. I want to pull it up. Maybe you've seen it. If I can get YouTube to work here, I'll have just a live reaction here. And where's the search feature?
Is this one I got to get my surprise, my oh my gosh face?
No.
Ready? Oh, okay.
The oh my gosh face was for the elk that I warmed up today for my lunch.
It's best right out of the fridge. It's not even good at room temperature.
No, it's got to be cold.
It's better in fridge temperature than room temperature. It's still good at room temperature, but it's better at fridge temperature.
Dude, I was so angry eating.
Strawberries are better at room temperature. Blueberries are better at fridge temperature. In my expert opinion, of course. My all-knowing. What you got?
Trying to get it oriented right. So I hope I have this turned up all the way.
Am I watching a video?
Yes.
Okay. Here, I'll take one ear off. Ugh. Got it. Push and play. Oh, I've seen this. Actually, we talked about this last year on the podcast. Yeah, he pops a tire. Right?
Yeah.
This guy's straight up, hey, what you got? What you got? Would you come at me? Come at me, bro. And Elk's like, oh, yeah, I'll pop your tire. Sucker. This is a cool video. Yeah.
Okay. I guess I forgot.
Yeah. We talked. I'm still watching it, though.
Right?
Because boom. Psst. You hear that? It's gone, baby. It's gone. Elk are no joke. You say that there was a trail where these animals were killed by a rock. Oh, we haven't talked about that yet. All right, are we talking about that next?
We can segue to that. Yeah, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about that.
So we talked last year about a herd of elk that fell down a rock slide.
Yeah,
and that was devastating. But in 2017,
fell down or under. Were covered,
just
were
involved
hit, were
with
killed. Yeah, but like 40 of them.
Yeah.
A large group.
Large group of mule deer had this happen to them in 2017. This is not uncommon in nature, of course.
Not.
But what's I think uncommon, or what has been more historically uncommon, is man coming across these to see it when it's happened in the near aftermath, right?
Yeah.
And so in 2017, some major trail system down in California, this happened, and people came across these deer that were still alive, some of them.
Yeah.
And so I guess they were helping them with end-of-life processes.
Dispatch?
Yeah.
Helping dispatch the deer, you would say.
And the picture, it's you just can't stop looking at the image. Not that I want to look at more images, but it's like, it's pretty, it's out there. It's
all right.
Yeah.
I might not have covered this story before. When we talk about that
Hold up.
elk,
Seatbelts.
well, you talk about that elk and how strong it is. It popped a tire,
Yeah.
like it was effortless.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just like toying with you. You know, it's ridiculous how strong these animals are. One time, I was hunting out by Townsend. Me and Slim.
Yep.
Me and Slim and California Dave. I don't remember if you remember California Dave.
I do.
But it was when Slim got his big 3-point muley.
Okay.
He shot it in the spine.
Okay. I remember this a little bit.
And his legs were paralyzed, and he was trying to get over a fence with his front legs.
Yeah.
And he's clambering his front legs, and it's freezing cold. It was so cold, and there was so much snow. And Slim's like, "Oh, I got him. He's down." So he leaves his gun in the car. He walks up like, you know, this is going to go great.
Yeah.
And he sees, oh, he's not dead yet. No problem. I'll just cut his throat.
Yeah.
Okay. That doesn't happen.
No.
That does not happen to an animal, whether it fell down a rock slide. If it can defend itself, it will try.
Sure.
And they are incredibly strong. Slim grabbed. I'm like, dude, I think that's a bad idea.
So,
I don't think you should do
it
this.
sounds like you're throwing a little water on that potential part of the story.
Yeah,
No,
absolutely.
And I wouldn't disagree.
Yeah.
You know, you have to be careful with what you read. We talked about vetting sources and question, like, where'd you hear that? I got that from a bar.
Yeah, I had it from a guy in a bar, dude. It's a pretty solid source.
So, no, that's a fair point.
Do you have his name? No, he was a drifter. So anyways, so Slim thinks, oh, this is no problem. This is what men do. You injure a deer, you walk up and you grab it by the antler and you softly cut its neck open and he bleeds and he's thankful for a quick death. But that's not what happened, right? He grabs the antler and that deer goes, "What are you doing, Chloe?" And he starts swinging its head around and he tries to cut its throat and he thrashes around even more. And then Dennis gets mad and he starts stabbing in the neck.
Dennis is Slim.
Dennis is Slim, sorry. I go back and forth. Oh, Slim. Oh, Slim. He's just stabbing it. He's got a 3-inch blade. It's not going to do anything.
Oh, goodness.
He had to walk back to the truck like 80 yards, get the gun, walk all the way back up to it, and shoot it again. And when we skinned it, right, there's all these neck holes from the knife.
Oh, goodness.
So when I hear somebody just quickly dispatched a mule deer with a knife, I'm going to have some questions.
But I didn't say quickly. It was part of the story. I don't know what the context was, but I also agree. You should question that because I recognize a cornered animal is not a good thing.
It's a really, really scared, even if you run over a dog or something, you're like, I don't even want to approach that animal. It's wounded. It's dangerous. You don't know what could happen. So, yeah.
Let's talk about some weapon stuff. So we got 3 stories. So this has to do with the historical context. So you said there was some stuff found here in Idaho.
Yeah, really, really cool stuff. And I just like an opportunity to talk about hunters from the past.
Yeah.
There was some really cool. My sister Rita posted some cool. I think. Some dioramas from a museum, I think, in the Southwest. It's so cool to see these old Anasazi, you know, dioramas. And we had this awesome diorama in the museum in Helena.
I have a picture of it from our
and
trip.
It's the buffalo jump.
Yeah,
it's the buffalo jump. It's such a great diorama. And to think about what it took to kill some of these wild beasts 16,000 years ago. The short-faced bear.
Yeah.
12 feet tall. He stands up on his hind legs. He's 12 foot tall. Weighs 1,400 pounds. They're so big. And there's so many cats. And to be chipping arrowheads out of rocks and being formidable enough, it's a joke that we call ourselves hunters.
Yeah. How many animals have I killed with my bow?
Yeah.
Not any big game animals.
No. That was a pretty good size rock chuck.
Yeah, it was.
All right.
So it's just cool. 16,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Just
we've been here. You know, we white people have been here for hunting for 300 or 400 years, and they were here hunting for 16,000. So many generations of. And I follow all these guys on TikTok who dig arrowheads. And I like the topic. I like the story.
Time to get into some
human
flint
beings.
napping.
Yeah. I really need to flint nap.
It's like 4 tools and some protective eye.
Yeah, right. And some goggles.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a heck of a lot of practice.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So,
hey, Ozzy, what's up? We're busy. Can I help you?
Why you doing pictures?
Hey, can you shut the door, please? We're busy.
Why are you doing pictures?
Thank you.
we'll see you in a little bit, buddy.
Why are you doing pictures?
Because we like ourselves. We like to look at ourselves.
Go ahead and pull the door closed.
On the YouTube, you're playing games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, you actually are playing games?
No, we're just on YouTube.
But you look.
Okay, shut the door, please.
But you look on YouTube like when you're on.
Thank you.
I guess I didn't realize I left the door open. That's any calling card for anything to come in.
He'll walk in anywhere. And hey, what's this?
It's
what's
all good.
that?
Hey, that's our first official guest on this podcast.
I guess it was kind of, wasn't it? All right. Well, I'll take it. That was Ozzy, by the way. My 6-year-old son.
He's fantastic.
Yeah, he's all right. I'll keep him. Yeah, I'll keep him. He's pretty cute.
This
Soon to be the greatest elk hunter the world has ever known, by the way. Another 10 years.
Sure.
He'll be there. He'll be there.
European hunters are switching to thermal optics. The trend is coming to America next.
Yeah.
So that caught my attention. And I read it and I forgot to really compartmentalize it. Then I found it and I reread it. But basically, there's some caveats here because we know that having a weapon that so let me preface this rather with some differences that the author in that article pointed out between American hunting and European hunting.
Okay.
In Europe, a lot of the rules are more loosey-goosey, not as structured, and you have more free reign. So the things that we have to be mindful of here, which I don't hate the things that we have for the structure here. You can't have certain things equipped on your bow and your firearm because it gives you too much of an unfair advantage. And so thermal optics sound like an unfair advantage kind of situation.
Yeah.
I know that in some places where you have invasive species like the invasive pigs or whatever, and
sure.
like,
yeah.
There's hunting
all
at
over,
night, and
all
so
over,
those. I'm sure the thermal optic trend is already in that demographic.
It
of
is.
hunting.
It is. They use it on coyotes too.
But my thought was, what is it that if thermal optics were really coming to America outside of that, where would it fit in? How would it fit in? And because I'm having a hard time with that claim, and they didn't really go into any details. And when they talked about the kind of thermal optics they're using, they're like these little clip-on things that can take your already optic, and so it was kind of cool to read about that, but I still failed to see the full scope of what they're trying to get at. Other than thermal optics could be useful if they're not attached to your weapon, but part of sort of your looking at a stand of trees or something.
Right.
Possibly,
well, I mean, it's just like having a pair of binoculars.
Yeah.
That's unfair. 16,000 years ago, they didn't have that.
Yeah. So, but that's
Right?
just it.
I have a phone scope.
I think I thought of that as well. It's like, well, if I couldn't have it attached to my bow or my arrow, I have a little thermal on my arrow.
Yeah.
I could possibly carry a thermal optic.
Sure.
On the side. And so that was interesting to me, and I'm not sure how to feel about that, but I'm not disappointed. I'm kind of curious. Like, what would that do? Would it change anything?
Seeing the thermal images. I'll tell you what it will change. Right now, it'll change a lot.
Yeah.
Seeing those thermal images coming through on deer drone recovery.
Yeah.
Drone deer recovery. I watched a bunch of him this week on YouTube too. He's really cool. But seeing that, if you're looking at a tree stand like we do so many times as the sun's going down, right? As soon as that temperature switches, and it switches fast, all of a sudden you can look at a stand of trees and go, "Yep, there's elk there."
Yeah.
You don't have to wait for them to come out of the trees. And that is huge.
Yeah.
That's a huge advantage.
Yeah. So
should I be allowed to have that? Would I use it?
So,
right?
I think it's a relevant conversation to have, to bring it up. So I'm kind of glad I went back and chased that down.
So I would have to get in on them still. I have an advantage of knowing that they're there. That doesn't get me close enough to hit it with an arrow or even a gun.
I think at the end of the day, it gives you an advantage for locating.
Yeah.
But there still is that you've got to get in on.
Yeah.
And that has been my problem.
Yeah. And there are plenty of places too where I'd love to glass here, but it's all trees.
Yeah.
Just all trees.
Yep.
So if you get up high, you get a really good vantage point, and the thermal imaging, and the timing has to be right for the thermal imaging. That's what I'm learning about this drone deer recovery, is that if it's, he's got to get out at nighttime or before the sun's up in the day, because when the sun is heating the ground, there's just too much heat rising off the ground, and you can't get the right thermal image.
Okay.
But right when it changes, and he likes it right at dusk.
Okay.
He's like, as soon as it gets dark, we can find your deer. So if you can imagine, and you know what it's like in the Rockies when that shade climbs up the mountain, you're like, oh boy,
Here it comes.
It's happening now. Today could be the day. Every time.
Some people like to try to make it their day by using what are called poisonous pods. It's a little fixture at the end of your arrow that when the arrow goes into the animal, it releases a chemical that will help the animal sort of, like, it's like muscle relaxant. So it'll just cause the animal to just start to become more paralyzed.
Wow.
And so there was
like
actually,
a lethal injection.
like a lethal injection, but it's not harmful to humans.
Yeah.
And so, but this is, I know it's very, there's a lot of ethical there. But a proponent, according to this author, a proponent of this method of harvesting comes from none other than the Fred Bear.
Really?
Yeah. And he was apparently working on some prototypes and stuff and so he so his thing was he wanted to make bow hunting more accessible. He focused a lot on the ethics of the kill, and he thought, well, and this was his frame of reference, according to this author, was that if I accidentally hit the animal in the wrong spot, they could be injured.
Yeah.
And then they'll have, right? So if I add something to that to increase the lethality so that they don't suffer as long. That was his approach. Now, I think it's well intended.
Yeah.
But I also think that it unfortunately opens a door to too many slippery slopes otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
we could vaccinate anybody within 45 yards. Yeah. I can vaccinate somebody. You just change whatever the chemical that is to the vaccination. I got you, boy. Got you. We could end chronic wasting disease. We'll just get them all vaccinated. And I say vaccinated. That's because I'm pulling the release. Vaccinated. Like
there you go. I like it. I could really hear the snap of the release.
Thank you.
String really. Twing,
I'm feeling this vaccination.
Twing. So I thought that was interesting, and that Fred Bear was a proponent of that. But not that I would he have changed his mind today based on certain or our current.
I don't know. I'm really surprised when I watch the drone deer recovery. I'm really surprised how many shots guys take at deer and hit them and don't recover. So let's say you hit a deer with an arrow and it runs off and you can't find it.
Yeah.
How would this help? It runs off and dies.
Yeah.
One way or the other, if you hit it bad or you hit it good. Right? There's a lot of guys in what I'm seeing in this back east in drone deer recovery land is that, man, these guys, they shoot and hit and they say it's lethal. I know he's gone. I know he's dead. I just never found him.
Yeah.
Just never found him. So they go and they try to shoot another one. So anyway, I don't know.
We got 2 bits left. I'm throwing in an extra one
to
set up the last card here.
Thank you.
And so
thank you.
I had a boss where I worked once. He was from the Midwest. He grew up in Michigan, and I talked to him about hunting. This is 2007 and 2006-7, and he was a really nice guy. His name was Jim, and Jim talked about growing up being a teenager in Michigan. They have so many deer that it's so common to just hit one going down the road. And so if you hit one, or if you see somebody hit one, you can go ask for a tag and you can go collect that and
all the time. Yeah.
So knowing
you can do that here too.
Yeah. So, but because of the high occurrence of that there, it I guess there's
a lot more regular.
There's places in Idaho probably where that's more regular too. And I've hit a deer in Idaho, but
yeah, there's some stretches of road, where you should always have a tag.
I estimated on a stretch of road heading towards Preston one morning, it's about midnight. Yeah. I estimated roughly 600 deer.
Wow.
In about a 4-mile stretch. A deer migration area.
That doesn't make
it was so impressive that that as soon as I had the chance, I got Vesa and the oldest boy. We didn't have the 2 or
Yeah.
3. And we drove down there to look at them during the day because they were just so many.
What time of the year was it?
It was in the spring, so it was February, March.
Yeah, it should be coming. Yeah.
Anyway, so he says, he goes, I knew that you could harvest a deer if you hit it. So I had a car that I got for my birthday or whatever. I'm in this old truck that my family had, and I'm coming down the road and I see this deer and I just floor it. And mind you, this is not something I would do. I don't condone this, but this is what he did as a teenager. And so he floors it. He gets this deer and he goes to their version of Montana Fish Wildlife and Parks.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm so sorry. I hit this deer. Can I harvest it? And they're like, here you go, son. Here's your tag. Yeah, it's all good. So
how bad was his car messed up?
it wasn't. It was a small deer. It was an old like Chevy or Ford or something. Just a truck of some kind that just really could handle it. Right?
Oh, wow.
And so
Wow.
a couple weeks later, a deer's on the road. He's in his car. And he says, son of a bitch. Sorry, my language. He floors it. And he gets the deer. And he goes in, I'm so sorry, I hit a deer. And the same officer happened to be working with him that day. And he says, son, if you do this again, I'm going to put you in jail. So the officer picked up on what he was doing and threatened him with jail time. So he says, I never did it after that. So that's just a good story, man.
Wow.
And that makes me think of this picture you have here where grilled deer meat.
Yeah, somebody hit a deer with their car. Is that a Jeep?
No, it's like a
Sedan?
It's a sedan.
An
of some
Oldsmobile,
kind.
we'll call it. But it is stuck in the grill.
Totally grilled.
And it's just a great opportunity for dad joke with some grilled deer.
So
We're having grilled deer, kids.
and if anything, it brought up that old fun, unethical yet funny story.
Oh, I got a long list of those. I can get started. We got this one. We got this one.
All right.
Anyways, well, that's the Elk Season podcast for this week. We have keep an eye on the YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't know when Destination Elk is going to hit, but there's plenty of other stuff out there. The like I said, Knock on Archery was really good. That guy was really good.
Okay.
Just telling you about his experience being, a year-long work. He worked a long time to lose that weight to get up to 12,000 feet and hunt an elk. That would have been a good idea for me. So it's all that stuff. And we'll keep dieting. I'll give you an update on my
progress.
Sorry, it's low power mode. I'll give you an update on my progress, on my scorched earth. Right now my plan is my next cheat meal, other than my 3 that I have, my next cheat meal is going to be for my Valentine's date.
Nice.
With the old lady. So we'll see.
Be careful.
We'll see how that
Be
goes.
careful.
Why?
It was a sign of support to not fall off the cliff.
Oh, geez,
and
man.
into a vat of fat.
It's so easy. It's so easy. Today I saw. Sorry, we'll end it. But today I bought some mini M&M cookies from Albertsons.
Okay.
One of the mini M&Ms fell off and was on the counter.
Yeah.
When I dropped off my daughter at work and I dropped off my kid at school, I come home and it's just me and this little yellow M&M.
I know what's happening.
Sorry, buddy. It's going in the garbage. It's got to go. It's hard. It's that level of dedication.
All right.
It's that level. You're like, no, buddy, you're not getting me. You just look at that M&M and laugh.
I'm just going to take it as you just want to sound good. I get it.
You want to buy me a case of beer?
Truth.
Put it in the fridge. I'll just sit there and watch it. Won't touch it. Won't touch it until I do. And then I'll drink it all.
Right.
As is my personality. All or nothing. Let's go.
True that.
All right. Well, anyways, we'll see you next week.
Cheers.
Goodbye.
Be well.